Oh, greetings everyone who's coming in to listen to this video here, or rather, listen to this audio here. My name is The Wanderer. You can call me Osric. And today I wanted to talk to y'all about here something that has been rattling around in my head here. It's a bit of a musing that I've had about the nature of, well, it's about the nature of the story of Loki and Balder, or rather, the story of how, well, in the Icelandic text, how Balder meets his end, and Loki's role within that. Now, most people, if you've been a practicing Norse heathen for some time, or you've at least read through the Eddas at least a little bit here, you know a little bit about this story. You know about how Balder is beloved and beautiful and is blessed by his mother Frigg with oaths that protect him from all manner of things that could harm him, whether they be weapons, diseases, natural disasters. Any and all things were made to swear an oath that they would never do him harm, save for one thing in particular. And that one thing in particular comes back to be his comeuppance, as orchestrated by Loki. And we're all familiar, and those of us who have read the story, or those of us who have read it enough or read into this enough, are familiar with the details. So I'm not going to go and rehash the entire saga bit for bit. What I want to draw attention to, or rather, what always sticks in my head, is how people treat the story and always want to write off like, oh no, Loki was doing some great evil. He killed the god of light. He did this. He did that. And it's a very moralistic look at how the story played out. And I think we're approaching this from the wrong angle here. So I'm here to present a counter angle to this. So let's start this counter angle by examining what we know from the story. So we have Frigga the Allmother, versed in magic and seerdom and knowing the ways and shape and lay of all things that are in the cosmos. She is practically on the same level as the Nornir. So, with that in mind, pay attention to what she does. She extracts an oath from all things to not do her son Balder harm. She goes against the very idea and force of weird, of cause and consequence. The same force of weird that all of the gods are bound to, from Odin to Loki to Frigg to Frey to Freyr, all of them. Every being that has ever existed, whether they are of the Aesir, the Vanir, the Jotnar, mortals, non mortals, all things within the realms are bound to the lay and rhythm of weird. And yet, all these oaths that she secures places Balder outside of weird. Nothing can harm him, supposedly. Nothing can touch him. Nothing can hurt him. Nothing can ever do him harm. And with this power, what does he do? How does he show his appreciation? How do the gods view this? They take this power that has been bestowed upon Balder, and he's boastful with it. He's bragging with it. He holds games amongst the other gods where they all throw their most mightiest weapons at him to see if they can do anything to him, and they make a game out of it. This fearsome power that goes against the very laws and fundaments of all creation is turned into a game, turned into something that is frivolous in how it's approached, absolutely superficial in how it's used. And then here comes Loki. What does Loki do? Loki hears what has gone on here. They know what has been done, what Frigg has done, the oath sworn here. And Loki also knows, as it is in Loki's nature to know these things, that there was one being in particular that Frigg never consulted with: the humble mistletoe plant, growing high in the branches of either a fir tree or an oak tree or a birch tree. She never thought that this small, humble plant, growing evergreen on the branches here, would ever do harm to Balder. It grew too high and was of little consequence. So she passed it by. And Loki knew this. Loki saw this. And the absurdity of the situation struck him, because here she goes, wanting all things to swear oaths to never harm Balder, and yet here's this plant that she pays very little attention to, doesn't think anything of it. Out of all things in creation, she chooses just to pay it no mind. Everything else gets its fair due, but she doesn't even think twice about this plant, this humble shrub growing over here out of the way. It reeks of hubris. It reeks of hubris in a way that Loki threw great shade at during his flighting, when he was amongst the halls and amongst the drinking parties of the gods. And so, what does Loki do with this? This strange travesty that defies all manner and rules of creation and acts with such impunity and hubris. He rectifies the situation, because that is also what Loki does. For every situation Loki has been in, or every situation that comes up as a problem for the Aesir and the Vanir, here comes Loki to offer a solution, to rectify an imbalance, to rectify the situation. Loki takes the humble mistletoe and makes it into an arrow or a dart or some other form of thrown projectile. I've always taken it, the imagery of it, to be an arrow. And what does Loki do with it? He goes to Balder's brother, Hoder. Hoder, whose powers are of darkness and shadow, who is in charge of the other half of the domain of everything. For as Balder is in charge of the light half, Hoder is in charge of the dark half. And because of this, Hoder is blind. He cannot see. He would love to participate in the games with the other gods, but alas, he has no ability to see, and no one else is helping him to partake in this event. He is left out. So Loki goes over and offers to help him. He gives him a weapon so that he can participate in this game. And all he simply does is hand Hoder the weapon, tells him, here's where Balder is, make sure he's pointed in the right direction, and Hoder does the rest. And the situation rights itself. The imbalance is corrected. Those that were ignored or shunned have their significance. Weird is maintained and corrected for, because now the deathless must answer for being deathless. And so Balder dies. So think on that for a minute here. When Balder dies, what is really happening here? The oath that was taken, or rather the oaths that were taken by all creation, save for the one piece of creation that was ignored, these oaths were here to prevent Balder from ever being harmed, from taking part in Weird. For in Weird there is cause and consequence. Things are born, live and die and are born again. The gods are part of it. All life is a part of it. And now Balder is too, from where he was forcibly removed from this cause and consequence in the name of some desire to protect him, to keep him safe. But this desire to grant him invulnerability, well, we see where this is going to go here. By Balder's actions of taking his invulnerability and making it into a game, a superficial show. And such great power being treated so superficially, there's only one place that goes, and it is not good. Imagine what would have happened if Balder, left in his power, his invulnerability, had chosen to do other things instead of playing games with his ability to no longer be harmed. He decides to wage war, to impose his will. Nothing could stop him. Nobody would be able to stop him. Light would be able to run roughshod over all things, and in doing so, destroy weird down to its fundamental forms. It would be a great imbalance. It is a great imbalance that would destroy all things. And what does Loki do? He rights the imbalance, as he always does. It's a necessary evil. It's not pretty, but it is what must be done. So think about that for a minute here. Out of all the things we read about in what we have preserved of varying stories from the Icelandic corpus, things that we hear in the rest of Scandinavia, what we see down in the continental side of things, what lore or folklore is preserved over in the Anglo-Saxon settlements of how the old heathen gods were and are and what was important to old heathen religion. Weird is fundamental, and anything that upsets weird must be corrected for it. Because to have an imbalance of weird is to ruin everything, no matter how well intentioned it may be. So, think on that for a minute. Is Loki truly doing harm? Or is he truly saving everybody by fixing something that should not have happened in the first place?